What can we do to change what we're doing so that we can get more services through our door?
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
Welcome one, welcome all, everybody. Welcome to the program. Another mini-sode for you. This one's sponsored by Kubicasa. You can learn more about Kubicasa's floor plans, not sketches, folks. There's a difference. Kubicasa floor plans at kubi.casa. That's spelled kubi.casa. And you will find Kubicasa, or just Google them, Kubicasa. You'll find them. All right, folks, I want to talk a little bit about, what's on your mind right now. I know what's on your mind right now. Why? Because I'm doing some coaching, I'm doing some masterminds, I'm doing some interaction with my clients, and guess what? Guess what's on your mind? I know, shocker. The lending has slowed down a little bit. Okay, maybe a lot in some necks of the woods. And you're looking to pay your bills. You're looking to get more business. And of course, the first thing you're going to think of is going to be other lending work, right? That's what we're used to, and that's great. I've talked on this microphone in the past about, it's not too late to dig up new clients. It's not too late to look at expanded, coverage, expanded expertise, services that you might provide. And folks, I highly recommend and encourage that be your first stop, right? If that's what you know, if you're used to doing AMC work and lender work, that's the way to go. But what is step number 2? Folks, I can promise you it is not too late to start looking at private work. However, today's private work, or at least getting that private work, marketing, if you will, for that private work, and I know that's a bad word. Everybody hates the word marketing. Dustin, I'm not a salesman. Guess what, folks? If you're going to pay your bills, I'm sorry, you're a salesman, or saleswoman, as case may be. You got to sell your products. You got to move your products. And in this case, your product is your service, your appraisal service. And it's a different world than it was a year ago. It's a different world than it was 6 months ago. Interest rates have gone through the roof. Well, have they really? I mean, 6 points, that's 6%, that's through the roof. I don't know. I mean, back when I first got my first mortgage years ago, 6 3/4 was what my mortgage was. So it's really not that bad. It's really not. I know my dad appraised in a world that had 18 to 21% interest. So, I mean, come on. Are we really up there? But I get it. I mean, the marketplace is getting colder. People are getting a little bit more frigid about moving forward on things, and thus the appraisal work has slowed down a little bit. Let's be honest, it has for all of us on some level. So marketing is what we look to. What can we do to change what we're doing so that we can get more services through our door? Now, I am happy to report that myself and most of my clients, even though the mortgage applications are down 60+%, thankfully, our work is not down that much, and I think there's a reason for that. There's things that we're doing that are different than our competition, and that's why you come to this microphone. That's why you come to this program. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I feel you should be focused on. And it's not going to be the same old. I promise that. Okay, you've heard me talk about different things in the past that, frankly, they work. They do. But I'm going to talk about the 80-20 rule, okay, and I'm going to talk about where you should be spending 20% of your efforts to get 80% return. But first I want to talk about a new sponsor here, Kubicasa. Folks, if you've not heard of Kubicasa, you need to check them out. What a cool company. What a cool app, if you will. What a cool service that they provide. One of the most challenging and difficult things that we do as an appraiser is to get the sketch, right? Why not rely upon great technology? And I'll be honest, I was very skeptical of Kubicasa. Everybody was talking about it. I said, okay, fine, Dustin, just download it, try it, see where it goes. Folks, I spent about 15 minutes into tutorials. Probably wasn't even necessary. It's pretty intuitive. But I spent about 15 minutes on YouTube just finding out, okay, what is this thing? How does it work? How do I do this? And then I did my own house, and I was blown away at the accuracy. Folks, if you've not checked them out, you need to. Go to Google, type in Kubicasa, Kubicasa, okay? Or you can just go to their website. It's kubi.casa. No .com, just kubi.casa. All right, folks, welcome back. We're talking today about marketing, the market slowed down. Appraisals have slowed down just a little bit. Where do you go from here? Now, certainly the first step is probably go to what you know. I think that's the best advice I could give you, right? If you're used to doing AMC work, if you're used to doing lender work, I would find out what other opportunities exist for you right now. Reach out to your current clients. Go to your clients and say, hey, what's your biggest challenge right now with appraisals, right? I guarantee they're going to tell you speed. Now, folks, if you can turn it in a quicker time, right, using things like Kubicasa and other technology and maybe some human resources, right? If you can do that in such a way that it allows you to not cut on quality, you're going to have a leg up on your competition. But aside from that, let's say you want to dive into the private world, the private appraisal world. What does that look like? Well, first of all, you need to find out what type of private work do you want to do. Pre-listing appraisals that would often come through realtors. Maybe you want to dive into the divorce side or estate work or government work. There's so many things out there that can be done. It's a wide open field, folks. We too often as appraisers, we have shields on the sides of our eyes. We don't see the peripheral vision. All we see is what's in front of us, and that's lender and AMC work. Or if you talk about private work, it's maybe very specific things. But folks, I'm telling you, the sky is the limit. There are so many opportunities out there to provide your service for people that may not even know they need it. Part of marketing is helping them to understand that they do need your service. And if they do need your service, they need your service, not your competitor's service, right? But folks, I want to share with you what I've learned over the last couple of years that I think is gold. Ready? Get your pen and paper out. I really do believe this is gold. Yes, you can still do lawyer lunches. Yes, you can still do lunch and learns with realtors. Yes, you can still get in front of a group, a brokerage, if you will, with 15 agents and do a Q&A. I highly recommend that. I do it on a regular basis. You should be as well. I've had great success doing lawyer lunches where I have, 5 to 6 different attorneys at a pretty fancy restaurant for lunch, right? And I drop $500 on lunch, and I might pick up a client or two. Those things are still highly effective. But I will tell you where 80% of our private work comes from. This is not going to come as a surprise, but maybe some of the ways that we go about getting it might be, and I'm going to share with you some of those today. It's the internet, folks. I know, shocker. What, Dustin, you mean people are going to the internet to get an appraisal? Yeah. Folks, flip the table. You're on the other side of the table. You're not an appraiser, but you need an appraisal, right? You know nothing about appraisal other than I need an appraisal. I want to know how much my house is worth. I want to know how much grandpa's house is worth. I want to know how much any property is worth, right? I'm looking to do an investment. I want to know what the true value of that property is. Where do you go? I know, shocker. You go to Google. You Google appraiser in Idaho Falls, appraiser in Phoenix, appraiser in New York. And then what? How do you decide on the appraiser? If you're anything like me, I don't care if it's a plumber, a contractor, a landscaper, an attorney, a dentist, it mattereth not, my friends. All of those things have one thing in common. They are service-oriented businesses, and you're going to look for those that have the highest reviews. And that is my first recommendation, that you work on your Google reviews. What does that mean, Dustin? When you ask for them. Folks, trust me, as one who went many years without any Google reviews, or maybe a few, people were complaining about, the appraisal was too low. My house is worth $500,000 and he came in at $480,000. Those are not the kind of reviews that you want to solicit. They're not the kind of reviews that you want. And the problem was I spent many years not soliciting any, and those are the ones that I got. Folks, when I started reaching out and asking people for reviews, guess what? They came. Bum. Amazing. Folks, that's step number 1. Ask for reviews. Step number 2, reach out to the internet and find out where people are looking. There are still bulletin boards, right? I know I'm not a big Home Advisor fan. I'm really not. But I know some have had success with places like Thumbtack and others. There's other things out there. I still subscribe to an appraisal directory that still pops up on page 1 of Google. And I've been on that directory for 10 plus years. I'm still paying a fee to belong to that. Folks, but I will tell you where you're going to, that's number 1. That's number 2, right? Number 1, ask for Google reviews. Number 2, go to bulletin boards that specialize in getting great SEO, search engine optimization for Google. And number 3, this is highly important, pay attention to your Google business page, okay? You've got to update that sucker frequently. You've got to put fresh content on there, whether it be blogs or videos or pictures, right? Take a picture of the moose that walked across the road and say, hey, appraising in Teton, Wyoming today, and this guy got in my way, right? Notice that I put a couple things in there. Appraising in Teton, a place, a thing, right? This is what people are going to Google. That's what they're going to find. Hope that helps, folks. I know things are tough right now. Don't get discouraged. Get encouraged. Stay tuned. We're going to give you more advice. Right? By the way, if you're interested in learning more about Google reviews, I've got a great webinar on my website. Check it out. Go to theappraisercoach.com/products and scroll down until you see the webinar on how to get 5-star reviews on Google. Thanks for joining me, folks. We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.